layers of the reality wisdom. The city of the Antiquland was built upon the blueprint was the masterwork of the Crestalian logic called graphic design. For a 3 centuries, it is a citizen the Athol had lived within its perfect, practical, predictable rhythms. The design dedicate the optimal planning cycles for the aeroport, aeroponic spreads and the most efficient traffic flows for the hover transport. The precise ratios of the resource of the allocations. It was the magnum ops of the long departed arts synthetics and the lyrics of the theory of the urban harmony. So the comprehensive it was the considered complete to the question. It was the hardest way to the divided from its folly. Yera was a theory shaper, a junior analyst in a central planning spire. Her life was one of the pristine projections and the aligned cost equations. She believed in a design with the fervor of the practice and the current project of the revelations of the city oldest direct the ones sectors did the according to the underperforming by the 22.30%. Her plan project of the phonemics was the beautiful. It involved replacing the irregular originally crow dwellings with the modular habits units routing and two major transit lines for the better access and the introducing a schedule of a community activities calculated to boost social cohesion and the metrics by at least 40%. She presented it to the council of the regulator with the polished certainly. The date is clear, city clear, the holograms swirling and the around her the warrants are trends of a civic and the efficiency. My plan will bring them into the harmony with the grand design elder or in a man whose the faces was a map of all fashions miracles and the earth from some pre-designed time. Breed at her. Have you been to the Warren's theory shepherds Lyra? My seasoners have complained intensive and the environmental and the demographic scans. She replied smoothly, but have you walked here? She paused. You have smelled the air, heard the noise, felt the ground under your feet. Lyra blinked such a subjective input were the considered noise and were the filtered from the high level analysis the design account for the relevant variables she studied. Her plan was the approved, but the elder or independent of the conditions release closure from an order less of the rigorous time. Lyra was the oversees the initial implementation. Personally, she was to reside the warrants for one the Lancer cycle with scenes of the Benevolent missions. Lyra descended from the calming spire into the labyrinth of the Warrens. Immediately, her senses were the assaulted there. The air was not the sterilized and the circulated breeze for the upper city. It was the thick with the scent of sizzling street food, ozons from the improvised repairs, the rich lemons smell from the illegal soil plots on the rooftops. The noise was the cacophony, shots, and the laughter, the clang of the machinery, and a strange rhythmic music did the plus through the narrow alleys. It was nothing like the serene in the soundscape her ideal profile had suggested. Her first shop was the Central Plaza, designed in her plans as a Nord Alpha community hub. Her models showed optimal pedestrian flow requires the removal of the large irregular structure, the skins labored on the conforming deficiency. It's in a reality it was a kettle, a down ring, and the Ramshackle published Fork and the Tea House. It's a metal skip page with the hundred different colored allows. It's a bezel from the dawn till dusk. Citizen brought broken tools and the editors project the Cosby. It was the district betting hard effect no sensor had captured. She tried to explain the efficiency of the new modular units to the woman repairing a hydro generator outside her home diet was fanciful and the chaotic sculpture of reclaimed painting and a Kiro Palmer. Your new unit will have the optimal light, climate control, and a noise depending and the Lara said, pointing to the holograph rendering the woman of the Notre this wall, she said, the slapping a piece of the dented hull, the mantle, and the came from the grandfather salvage runs. The pipe system follow the old steam in the weekend, keep the floor warm. Your box might be perfect, but it's a head. No stories, it does not. No meticulously scheduled community chosen event game night was a disaster. She set up these citations and the logic puzzles and the cooperative strategy boards in the newly cleared space where a novid cat depart and the obstructions had been removed. Six people came looking bewildered. Meanwhile, a spontaneous kickball game the erupted in a nearby alley involving 2 dozen laughing resistants and a set painted cans. The chosen and the metrics were off the charts, but not a design zone. Reality was the refusing to the conform to the theory. It was messy, illogical, and the infrastructurally vibrant. The crisis came in week there a major conduct pipe, not any of the spire schematic. It had been jury rigid and decades ago by Warren engineer Brust dra- drowning her the prescribed and the rerouting of the transit line and the algorithm response from the central planning was to the seal the area and the deploy repair drones in 4.7 hours. But the pipe was the flooding cattle lower leave and the three homes. Yellow watched her plan trembling with like a wet paper, wheat paper. Then the saw of the killer grabbed on the toolkit and was wet into the knee. Deep water shoot shouting odor frog master from the kettle cared power within the initiative flick of a master switch. Lyra did not know existed a group of children who had the scans had the listed of the unoccupied miners from chains to the past tools. They did not follow up produce the improvise the use to the sheet of the flexible sealant meat roofing clamber from the scrapped pipe and the residual understanding of a pressure dynamic in a 20 minutes. The leak was the constrained standing shock and the unless Lyra and R is a piping of the grand design was the theory. Her project was the phonics was a plan. There were both map of the equestrian draw maps of a city yet they existed only in the past of the Ligram mind, but the warnings is the noisy smell and the brilliantly adaptable organism was the territory. It was reality itself, the ultimate theory. She returned to the council the next day, her perfect holograms absent in their space. She brought in the killer and the forgotten master and a shelter flex, not the projections, but with the observations.